Today we're going walking on the Quantock Hills to an ancient monument which is thought to be haunted by some foul-mouthed spirits. So come for a walk with me to a site known as Dead Woman's Ditch. The story I'm about to tell you isn't how this landmark got its name, as maps predate the following events. And if you do simply want to visit Dead Woman's Ditch, then there is a car park right next to it. But we begin our walk at the Castle of Comfort, because we are retracing the final journey of a lady named Jane Shorney, a local woman who in 1789 married a very popular local man called John Walford. John was seen as something of a celebrity, befriending poets and diarists like Thomas Poole, who wrote about him as being nimble and strong and remarkable for good temper. And Jane, she was described as ordinary, a squat person, disgustingly dirty and slovenly in her dress. Now, Jane and John found each other in 1785, when John was already engaged to Anne Rice from Nether Stowey. Jane fell in love with John and subsequently had his child, a son. But back then, if you were unmarried, it was deemed illegal, if you were a father at least. So if you were out of wedlock, you had to either marry someone or pay for their upkeep. They didn't want that to happen because John was engaged to Anne. So John's mother paid off the courts to stop that from happening, to stop John from marrying Jane. But shortly after, Jane fell pregnant again. So that was it. John had to marry Jane. But the marriage was not a happy one. It's thought Jane would taunt John because of his continued love for Anne Rice, to the point friends overheard John talking in the pub about running away to London. But on the 5th of July, 1789, just a few weeks after their wedding, everything changed. John and Jane were at the Castle of Comfort, where we began this walk. It's thought a drunken argument broke out between them, resulting in the pair walking home in the small hours. The next morning, 2 children found a bloodied fence post. They raised the alarm, and shortly after, Jane's body was discovered under branches and leaves in Dead Woman's Ditch. Which is where we are now. Dead Woman's Ditch. This is where Jane was found. The authorities searched John's home in the first instance. They found a blood-stained knife and overalls. That was obviously enough to arrest John. He did later confess to say that the devil had got inside his head. And it's on this very spot here where John was brought and he was hanged and subsequently suspended in what's known as a gibbet, an iron cage, which effectively served as a warning to anyone who thought about committing similar crimes. And Walford hung in his gibbet for more than a year. But what's worse is over there, you can see in the clearing, are some houses, some farms. That is where John's parents lived. And they could see John suspended in his gibbet. And it's thought that Walford's ghost is one of the spirits that roams these woods. A dark, tall, cloaked figure has been seen multiple times, along with the figure of a lady in a white dress, which has been seen at Dead Woman's Ditch itself. And recently, paranormal investigators have reported to have been shouted, screamed, and sworn at, and told to leave. Could it be the restless souls of Jane Shorney and John Walford? Well, you'll have to come up here yourself and find that one out for yourself. If you dare to walk the woods alone, that is. See you next time.